Kello, I'm gonna hand it off to you. Go ahead and take us away.
Well, if we actually take it back a step a day, Orange Juices already played Anteiku yesterday. They actually lost 2-1. So Anteiku were the ones that sent them into the losers round. But I think being able to take a match of them just goes to show that they are still going to be a formidable foe to Anteiku here. But first, bans for this match, we have Slowbro and Umbreon, two defenders on the side of Orange Juices, and two all-rounders on the side of Anteiku, being that of the Phalanx and the Blaziken.
Yeah, an Umbreon ban here is interesting. It doesn't seem like any team has been playing it or prioing it. I suppose they're saying that they're going to first pick the Trevenant here, and then they want you to just be put on a secondary tank. But the Mr. Mime looks great in every single one of these games that we see it, and I'm assuming that Nzeku can play it, as most defender players I know love playing Mime. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see some other good picks here. I'm really confused by the Umbreon ban personally. I'm not too much a fan of it, as actually they steal away the Mr. Mime, so that means that Anteiku over here is gonna have to end up on a tertiary pick for their defender.
Well, yes, when you only well, you still have Blastoise, you have Snorlax, but I don't know in terms of ranking. I mean, okay, wait, I completely actually forgot about the Crustle. I know it was really popular at some point previous, what, 2 seasons ago, I believe it was. But no, it looks like Gohan is gonna lock in the Snorlax. So that is some great suppression tools, especially with the block and the heavy slam combinations that you can pull out. And, you pair it up with a Chandelure in that back line, push them, away from the Chandelure as they're coming in from the back line chasing him. But I don't know. Oh, okay. Two slices and dices here. Garchomp and Absol, what are your thoughts about Orange Juice's picks here,
I
Rin?
really like the Garchomp pick, as I think it does great into everything Antico has drafted so far. I think Garchomp is an underutilized character. I think it's very strong, and so I like to see it coming out here. The Absol pick, though, I'm not too sure if I like it. I feel like the Mimikyu should have an advantageous matchup into that Absol, so I don't know if we would draft the Absol into the Mimikyu. Maybe they think it's a favored matchup for the Absol. That's the only reason I can possibly think of, but I do like the Garchomp, and I like most of the draft so far from Orange Juicers. I'm not a fan of the Absol pick here.
I think this may have been a strategic pick. We have seen Anysus actually play a fair bit of Absol today here over at the Unity Clash. So maybe considering Anysus, was the last pick there, taking it away, that way they ended up needing to opt for something else. And I guess that option being that of the Buzzwole. I guess, looking at Antiku's team composition here, they have quite that bulky front line. So it's pretty much, protect that Chandelure at all costs. Who's going to be firing from the back lines? But they definitely do not want to be caught out by a lurking Absol or even, say, a Solar Beam from Flareon's on the Mew.
Right. I think it's really interesting to see that Orange Juicers this game ended up essentially just drafting whatever they saw Antico drafting, right? They drafted the Trevenant, so they just stole the Trevenant from them. They stole the Mime too that we saw in the last series, and then they stole the Absol as well. So I feel like I mean, I mentioned just watching the entirety of the last set, it feels like they just saw whatever Antico wanted to do and just said, we're going to do that, but we're going to end up doing that better. So we'll have to see how that ends up playing out, as we see a Mr. Mime invading over here, not quite able to find the Mimikyu on his buffs though, not able to quite find him on the first Baltoy either. The Mimikyu clears too fast, so I'm not sure how much value this Mime is going to get from this.
I mean, it does have that experience share on hand, whether it's going to just be able to delay this Mimikyu, able to secure that Boltoy. However, we do have some backup eggs here with the Chansey, as we do have Aura chasing Roland out of there. They are going to have to retreat. Going in from the back line, probably looking to bump these Bunnelbees, but also steal themselves a little berry snack.
Yeah, and it looks like the Buzzwole actually lost out in this top side against the little baby Gibble over here. I don't think that should happen, as we actually see the Mega Punch coming out and getting the KO on the Gibble. Now that you're going to get attack weight stacks on the Buzzwole. Actually, no, they opt to give the stack over to the Mimikyu instead, leaving that point over there for him. Meanwhile, on this bottom side, the Absol finds the KO on the Candle for the second time this game, and the Snorlax is surely going to follow soon to the pursuit, as the tackle is not quite able to keep them alive. And you can see Orange Juice is going to transition this tempo to invade the side of Anteiku, and now Anteiku is going to have to do the same from the top side. So we're going to see actually an even trade here. Mimikyu going to get the enemy jungle from Orange Juices as well, but Anteiku, interestingly, going to have to play for a stronger top side rather than getting this Candle ahead.
A little bit of I'll take what's yours, but I'll also take what's yours back. We do have the Wood Hammer coming on out from the Trevenant, being able to knock down that Mimikyu. However, Mr. Mime ends up getting traded there, as we do have the Blissey trying to make a run for it. However, they cannot escape the hammers from Zugrug.
Yeah, and we see the Absol getting so much value this game so far, looking much better than we saw in the previous games. Level 8 already, and it's only the 750 mark currently. Alterios haven't even spawned yet, so this guy's going to be level 9 before either of the Regis even spawn, most likely, assuming this game goes as planned. But meanwhile, on the side of Anteiku, I feel like with characters like Mimikyu, even if the Absol ends up getting far ahead, you have a Buzzwole, you have a Blissey for the Unite move, this Absol can find so much trouble so fast, so we'll have to see if they can find picks on it. As speaking of picks, they turn onto the Blissey, but the Blissey is able to turn it around. The Buzzwole plus the Mimikyu combo able to find it, and that is a Psycho Cut Absol coming out here, which means he's going to be so much more squishy. Level 9 on the Absol, has the Unite move, but no, he's going to go down to the Play Rough plus Superpower combo. Mew forced to pop his Unite here in the 1v3, looking for an aggression on the Mimikyu, but the Mimikyu tries to use a Play Rough, but no, he's going to go down to the basic auto attack. How rare do you see that from the Mew?
That was a really interesting interaction there with the Buzzwole and the Mimikyu. Mimikyu attached and Buzzwole leaping him there and taking both of them for a trip. One didn't end up actually making it out. However, we do have that Regieleki being secured by Anteiku there, and this is going to march its way towards that tier 2 pad. We still only have a Gabite, so they really need to try and get some levels, some level 9 in order to get their Unite move and get that shred happening. But as we do have, these two members preoccupied by the Regieleki, it's going to allow the rest of them to pivot on down, and it looks like Orange Juices was able to pick themselves a Regirock buff.
Yeah, and I don't know my eyes to see me, but I'm pretty sure Buzzwole just Unite move nothing. Meanwhile, speaking of Unite moving nothing, we see the absolute Unite move getting countered by the Mimikyu right there. And this is why I think this matchup is so unplayable for the Absol. I'm really surprised to see the Psycho Cut variant come out too. I feel like Psycho Cut can't actually 1v1 the Mimikyu, whereas maybe the Sucker Punch has a chance to live. As we see the Shadow Sting connecting and the Absol being taken down. And this is exactly why I didn't like the Absol being taken here. I know you want to take it away, you want to take it as a denial pick, but I just think it doesn't get any value into the Mimikyu realistically, and we're seeing that come to fruition here as the Absol is being farmed on cooldown.
Midnight at Night comes on out, blinding that Trevenant, so they are needing to back on away. But 4 members are here to defend this pad, but it's a 4v4 down in the bottom path as Buzzwole and Mime are still up in that top path. But, I mean, it's really close coming up into this halfway mark. It's 50 points to 95. Looking at the levels, though, I'd say Anteiku do have that slight advantage, considering they have a level 11 Buzzwole over on their side.
Right, but if they're able to, yeah, right, and they can get this Regieleki that is about to spawn in the top side to pressure the tier 2 of Orange Juices over here, and I feel like they're going to be favored in this fight, assuming they can get their Unite moves back, and considering how long ago they used them, they should be able to. Though keep in mind, if they do not use the Garchomp move, or the Unite move on the Garchomp from the Mimikyu, the Garchomp Unite is going to wreak so much havoc in this fight, so it'll be interesting to see the target selection coming out of Anteiku here. Is he going to Unite move the Garchomp, or is he going to Unite move the Absol?
I guess we'll just have to wait and see, as Mr. Mime has decided to power swap that Mime. However, it ends up quickly getting separated and isolated by the Buzzwole. But it is Showtime to try and get some stuns. They are pressuring that Chandelure, also getting that isolation as Garchomp is able to push on back with their Dragon Rush and a Rampage combo. However, they ended up missing all their hits. Now, Buzzwole doesn't usually have much maneuverability, but the fact that they were able to dodge all of those Garchomp smacks was insane.
Yeah, the Mew using coaching actually to go back over to Garchom's body while being targeted by the Buzzwole Unite meant that the Buzzwole did not get connected on by that outrage. A slight misplay coming out of the Mew there, and that means that Buzzwole gets to live, getting this top Reggie Alecki as a result, as we see a little bit of pressure coming in from this Alecki. The Mimikyu waiting in the bush. He still has his Unite move, so if they end up moving up the path, they can use the Unite. As you see the play rough come out on the Garchomp. Garchomp with no Unite, and he's going to get united here by the Mimikyu, going extremely low, but now we have the jump pad. We have the members coming back, and the Avengers are coming in. The Absol Unite comes out, takes out the Reggie Alecki. Garchomp with the eject button combo, able to find the Blissey for the KO of 2, looking to pounce on the Absol, or the Absol finds the Chandelier as well, and only the Mimikyu is left over here from Anteiku. Meanwhile, a 50 cap coming in from the Absol. That is absolutely devastating if you're an Anteiku fan.
Yeah, that was some huge defenses coming out from Orange Juices, and I guess that's a risk that you take pushing a Reggie Alecki after that 5-minute mark. You have your opponents going in and jumping. However, speaking of jumping, we just had a Snorlax leap for the skies and land straight onto a Reggie Rock, stealing that away from Orange Juices.
Yeah, and we have the outrage now coming out on the candle, but he ends up blinding the Garchomp, meaning that he doesn't know where the candle is in order to take him out, but the Electro Ball comes out and takes down the candle. But meanwhile, the Mimikyu finds the Shadow Sneak on top of Mew. Heavy Slam coming out, but the agility is going to barely keep Mew just a little bit safe. Now, looking at the top side over here, the Buzzwole is pressuring with the Blissey on the mine, but we have reinforcements coming out from Orange Juicers, so only a buff steal is going to come out here likely. But actually, as I say that the Absol is pressuring the Buzzwole here, he turns around just perfectly to dodge the pursuit. As you see the Superpower, or the Smackdown rather, landing on the Absol. Pursuit coming in once again, the Psycho Cut. The Focus Man progged on the Buzzwole, and he is so barely alive right now despite missing the Superpower.
Absolutely no way that no one ended up getting KO'd during that little tussle. Buzzwole putting the trust into their Blissey to make sure to heal them. Just very much back and forth between these teams. However, there isn't enough time to secure themselves a Reggie Alecki. You need to try and get this prime positioning, as we have seen Rayquaza being shred. However, Snorlax is going to distract Orange Juices as they take a quick power nap and don't go in for a block. However, the Garchomp was able to go and dodge that. Play with me as go straight onto the opposing team as the Phantom Forest is coming to follow. 2 members of Anteiku are down. Orange Juices have the advantage here. It's just a question of whether they're going to be able to take down this Buzzwole. Snorlax tried to save them, but unfortunate endings there as it is a complete team wipe. None of Orange Juice's members went down during that scramble.
Yeah, and they still have 2 Unite moves too. Anteiku, what are you doing there? They did everything wrong they could possibly do and ended up doing it. They had the Blissey Unite connect onto nothing. The Buzzwole was not being pressured at all. On top of that, he was on top of no one, so you got no damage out of the Unite move. But you also saw the Snorlax being forced to use his Power Nap so early. You saw the Candle being jumped on by the Absol, getting eviscerated in that fight, dying nearly instantly. You had the Mimikyu getting no value of it out of his Unite move. Anything that could have went wrong just went wrong there for Anteiku, and that is so sad considering how well they were playing up until that stage of the game.
But look at that, just a nail in the coffin. Absol going and using their Midnight Slash to go and pick themselves 2 KOs, 3 KOs. Now they're gonna go on the hunt for this Snorlax as well. Oh my gosh, the displacement from Zugrug on the Trevenant to push that Snorlax away and allow the cleanup. And it's only Blissey who's left in base, and they are gonna go in for a surrender. Considering there's only 24 seconds left on the clock, 785 to 133 points. There is not much that Anteiku can do. However, Rin, it is the losers final, so it isn't over just yet, as it is actually a best of 3 for this set.
I think Anteiku did look pretty strong there as well. This is going to be a pretty close set going into game 2. I feel like despite that Ray fight going so terribly for Anteiku, every other stage of the game looked great for them. They ended up falling behind a little bit in the early game, but they were able to make comebacks inside of the game, finding the picks that they needed to find, finding the EXP they needed to find, making proper plays. They actually ended up, I think, with an EXP lead towards those later stages of the game, but a lot of missteps in that raid fight. So much misplaying is at once is so tragic for them, and it means that the raid fight looked not even close. Two unite moves still for the side of Orange Juicers, and yet they were still able to win the fight with all five of their members still alive. It was absolutely ridiculous, and that's not to take away credit from Orange Juicers or anything. They played the fight very well. They found the pick on the Snorlax. They were able to find the backline targets. They found the Mimikyu. They found the Candle. They were able to isolate them and assassinate them, and that's what their comp wants to do. So props to Orange Juicers for that. But going to this next game, I feel like Anteiku just needs to clean up that Ray fight.
Yes, I guess if you think about it, I'm trying to recall. I know Gohan's was one of the first to actually use their Unite move, being that on the Snorlax, and I don't actually think their HP pool was quite low. Probably just utilizing that power nap as more of a distraction, able to take those hits. But also just trying to get the cooldowns back on the blocks and the heavy slam. They were able to get their block back up once they woke up, but Machisel using their moves to dodge that block and not get caught out in that isolation that was Gohan's plan. So it kind of all just fell into their favor there. A fortunate series of events for the Juices. Now, I know the thing is, I have to bring it up. You were questioning the Absol, but watching that match, are you second guessing yourself with this Absol pick? Because I
No,
mean,
I don't feel like the Absol did anything. I do
no.
not feel like that was the Absol game. That was the
Oh,
Garchomp. The Garchomp was popping off
okay.
everywhere. The Absol was dying on cooldown. We saw the Mimikyu just coming in, stealing comeback EXP off him. He died twice in the mid game. This Absol didn't do anything. He got carried the whole game. That's not even fair. No, that
Now
this
that
Absol
is
pick was not very good.
brutal. That is a brutal. Nah, Kratos. I'd say, look, they did pick up some KOs, and that's the thing with Absol players. They are that assassin type Pokemon, so they're not the ones that are really supposed to go in for the engages. So yeah, you are relying on Zugrug to go in and get the stuns with the wood hammers. You're also relying on Roland to try and put up some walls, get in those isolations, or Machisel to try and get the displacement, the isolation, while Kratos comes in and finishes the job. I mean, for me personally, I am going to have to disagree. I thought they actually played a pretty good game, and I enjoyed the Absol pick.
I mean, I think Absol's a fun pick to watch, but if you go back into that mid game, he was just dying on cooldown. He just got caught by the Mimikyu. He got caught by
Yeah,
the Buzzwole.
fair.
That last fight was over the second the Garchomp uses Unite and destroyed the Mimikyu and the Candle. So I don't know. I felt like that game was the Garchomp show and the Mime show, I
Yeah.
guess. But I mean, going to the next game, maybe they take the Absol again as a denial pick. It did carry them a little bit in that early game. It was level 9 before that rate or before the first Reggie, but then it ended up falling down, I believe, before it could even use its Unite move. Only the Mew being in that top side. Yeah. So wait, no, the Absol even died even more. It was level 9 and it died, and then it was level 11 and it died, and then it was level 12 and it died. So it just kept chain dying. And I think that's the biggest problem with Absol and why I don't want to see it. I feel like it's so vulnerable to the Mimikyu that we're going to be seeing a lot in these games. As I say that, they actually banned the Mimikyu, which means that the Slowbro is open.
And Gohan is going to lock that bad boy in first pick. So it'll be really interesting to see what Orange Juices react with. You probably don't want to, I mean, everything is really susceptible to slow bro. Let's be honest, you don't want to be caught out in that slow beam. But Roland are going to go in and lock in the Blissey. So they are going to actually take that off Polo Loco there. And Kratos locking in the Leafeon. So this is going to be the speedster choice this time round. I am saying, well, there we go. I was going to say, any sus will probably ends up locking the Absol. Yeah.
I don't mind the Absol here as much because they're not picking it into the Mimikyu like they were last time. They were picking it into a character that hard counters them, and they got punished the entire game for it. So the Absol here looks
Mhm.
a little bit better. They were picking it against the Leafeon, and they also have the Slowbro on their team, so they have a way to isolate someone where they can use the Slowbro Unite plus the Absol Unite and end up essentially one-shotting them. Now, I will say they do not have the Blissey on their team this time, as we actually see the Zoro Comfy combo looking like it's going to come out here. An interesting combo, and I think a very strong one against the composition Orange Juicers has right now. How are they going to respond here?
Double speeds to comp with the Comfey. Oof. That is scary, but I guess one thing I am worried about, you look at their team composition, they are quite squishy. So they're definitely going to have to rely on their maneuverability to not get caught out by the orange juices here. Machisel is going to lock in that Garchomp once again. I guess just being the shredder, but even having the displacement that you get with the Dragon Rush. I know Garchomp's Unite move, it can really be hit or miss. Probably one of the most random ones to just try and aim and actually get the knockups and everything happening. But I don't know. This is really interesting. At least there's a little bit more bulk on the side of orange juices to take the heavy blows from Absol and Zoroark. But we know how much shred they can provide.
Yeah, I'm actually not sure who won this draft. I want to say Anteiku, but I think both drafts here are fairly good. I'm not a fan of the Leafeon first pick, and this draft is why, because I feel like Orange Juicers should have been able to have a much better draft if they didn't take the Leafeon at that stage of the game. So if they just took like a Cramorant there or something instead, it would have been much better for them, and then their composition would have been so good right now. But the Garchomp is good if it can get outside of the early game, but I don't know how it can get outside of the early game if the Zoroark is coming top level 5 and just KOing it on cooldown.
And then you have it with the Pocket Comfey as well. That is a deadly combo that you do not want to come into. So whether we'll actually end up seeing some invades maybe to try and shut down that Zoroark from getting that evolution. As I say, they're going to send them into that central area. But here we go, Rin. This is the second match of the losers final. If Orange Juicers are able to take this win, they're going to be landing themselves a spot in the grand finals against Inter.
Right, but going into the draft, I think Anteiku has the advantage here, and they were looking pretty good up until the Rayquaza in the last game. So I'm expecting Anteiku, assuming they piloted the Zoroark very well, to be able to take this game. As you see, the Leafeon looking for an invade over here onto the Zoroark, but is going to find no buffs are there for him to be able to invade, as they ended up doing a buff split. The Zoroark just going to go into the, or Zora rather, going to go into the top side and just hit level 5 off those back Bunnelbees. As you see, the Leafeon looking for a flank in this bottom side. Are they going to be able to find the Cramorant? No, just forcing the eject button here on both of the members for Anteiku.
I think that was actually a really smart play from Anteiku there to give that blue buff over to the Cramorant. While the Zoroark wasn't able to evolve in that central area, as we saw it on the mini-map, still the Zorua passing over those back Bunnelbees allowed it to reach that level 5 power spike, and now they are going to go in, use their combinations to just soak up all of the experience for free and not give any to the side of Orange Juices there.
Yeah, and we're going to see the power of the Speedster comp once both of them hit level 5. They're both snowballed in that top side, but actually, as I say that, the Absol 1 HP, is he going to go down to that ball side? There's no way. Nah, he doesn't. He's chill. I'm surprised they ended up having the Zoroark stay in this top side. I feel like the Absol should have stayed in the top side, and the Zoroark should have been the one invading. He has a much better kill pressure on anyone who ends up contesting him. But I feel like there's a slight misplay from Anteiku, but I'm not sure how much it's going to matter, as they ended up finding an advantage, and they have a level lead on everyone on their side of the map.
I mean, it's still early days, and probably just wanting to give that Zoroark that red buff instead, so prioritizing that. But we are going to have a bit of a clash here in that central area, as we do have some eject buttons being popped on out. Leafeon being able to make it back, grab themselves a berry. However, Absol looks to be caught in a bit of a pickle, as they do end up getting slashed on down by Leafeon.
Yeah, and I don't know what Anteiku is doing here. They're fighting outnumbered on every single part of the map, no matter where they go. As we see the Snorlax full healing from a single berry. Yeah, that's normal. As you see, a nice combo coming out from the Zoroark, able to find Flareon's on the candle there, and gonna get a 25 dunk as a reward, leaving the pad at 1 HP. Exactly what we want to see. Applying for a nice overcap. Meanwhile, the Absol being pressured so much on this top side, and you can see exactly why I'm not sure about the Absol pick right here, as he's just gonna go down to that Leafeon. Leafeon level 7 only right now, meanwhile getting chased by the Zoroark right here. His combo going to come up very shortly. Let's see if he can find a pick. He does have the farm, but no, he misses the Shadow Claw, as no, he's not going to be able to go back for it anymore, because he ended up hitting the Shadow Claw on the wall.
Yeah, not able to get a pick, but however, they are able to pick themselves a nice side of scrambled eggs. Roland is going to get taken down, so this is potentially going to give him some space to try and get this Regieleki, but we do have a Gabite and a Chandelure waiting in tow in the tall grass, waiting for the perfect opportunity to come in and get the invade, but Cramorant finds them out with a Gatling Gold missile and gives them a bit of a feast, a feed, taking down that Chandelure. Now they're able to take down that Regieleki, which does end up crashing into the pad. 27 points. Cramorant has 23, so this is actually a 30 overcap.
Yeah, I don't know if you saw that, but the only reason that the candle ended up dying there is because the Blissey ran back into the Unite move of the Cramorant to make it bounce on top of him. That was so messed up. I would be so tilted if I was the candle right now. That hurts to watch. That's a solo queue moment. Certified solo queue moment right there, as you have your support killing you. Now, meanwhile, on this bottom side, it looks like the bottom Reggie was not taken at all. Registeel is just sitting down here, alive this whole time. The Comfy with its Unite move, the Zoroark with its Unite move, should be able to secure this with great secure coming out of the Night Slash, or the Feint Attack, rather. Going to secure that. We see the Garchomp looking for a little bit of a play here, but he's going to get comboed 100-0 straight up off a single Hurricane. And that right there is the power of Antiku's comp. Not even using Slowbro's Unite, but still able to find any pick they want instantly.
Oh my gosh, the combinations that are just coming out from Anteiku right now. This pad is left on one, so it looks like they want to try and break it. However, they're going to end up heading themselves into that flux zone up the creep without a paddle, as Slowbro ends up getting taken down. However, some Unite moves are going to be utilized. It's Midnight versus Midnight, and it looks like Zoroark is the darkness that prowls and is able to come out on top.
Yeah, and you can see exactly the power of this composition. They're able to find so much in this mid-game. Look at the EXP advantage they're gaining. Any Unite move that Orange Juicers end up using gets countered. The Bliss Unite gets no value. The Leafeon Unite ends up going down to the Absol anyway, and this composition is just absolutely steamrolling this game. I am surprised we've not seen a single Zoroark until just now. I don't know if it was being played earlier. I know a little bit was played yesterday. Maybe some of the sets that were off-stream or being shown on other streams had Zoroark, but I feel like the Zoroark character has been so broken since forever, and anyone not playing it, in my opinion, is just trolling.
It's not just the Zoroark on its own. It's the Zoroark Comfey duo. The full heal timing there to go and dodge that heavy slam. That way they didn't actually end up getting procced on up. Garchomp is just going to go and do a Garchomp Machisel thing, shred up this Regieleki. But the thing is, it's a big risk, as we have Anteiku being able to get the steal Gohan, the last hit, and now Zugrug also ends up crumbling once again.
And you can see what happens when this Feaster comp starts snowballing. Everyone at Orange Juice is just falling left and right. I'm really surprised they take this fight. It's actually, they have the Cramorant Unite coming out, but not getting any value. You're just standing there doing nothing. I don't know if that's a bug or what. We have the Zoroark Unite coming out, going to find one KO, but I don't think Anteiku can push this anymore. They have no more Unites to pressure. I think they should just take the farm and call it a win, as they're looking to pressure the bottom side. The Leafeon actually goes down, and that actually means they're going to find the dunks on that bottom side. A huge misstep coming out from that Leafeon.
Yeah, that is massive plays there from Anteiku, knowing that a lot of the Orange Juices were up at that top side, that they did have that opportunity to go and break that pad. They now have the lead, 355 to 59 points, but looking at the levels across the board, level 13 Zoroark, level 14 Zoroark, so that is definitely going to have to be the target that Orange Juices need to take down, but even then, you have level 13 Cramorant, and if you're going and pairing this up with a Regirock as well, that is just going to give him so much more advantage over the Orange Juices right now.
Yeah, not only that, you have the Comfy with it, and you have the Slowbro too on top of that. And that's not even the only threat on the team. You have 3 threats on this team that are so fed. Every single one of them can be paired with the Comfy too and be so lethal. And if any of them are near the Slowbro when he uses the Unite move, you are guaranteed to get knocked out right there in that fight. And there's not too much that Orange Juicers can really do. This is why I do not like seeing the Leafeons drafted this early on. You can just get punished so hard. You run these double Speedster comps into it, it'll match the early game and then end up outscaling it too, because it's just fodder at this point in the game. It can't do anything. Also, one interesting interaction is Orange Juicers ended up opting for over here. That means that Absol can get value on Sucker Punch anytime you want.
That is an interesting point to note as we have 10 seconds left until the final stretch. And Taku have that fire burning in their bellies as they want to try and take this to a round 3. However, members are going to try and get their positioning circling around as Zoroark is looking to try and get the flank from the backline. But the Slowbro catching out the Chandelure, followed up by that Midnight Days to go and get these KOs. 2 members are down and now Leafeon is on the chase. But with a mouthful of power, then Cramorant's Gatling Gold Missile is going to just force out the Arrokuda once again to just ward off Orange Juice's. I mean, we do have Garchomp still here, who does have that potential to shred, but I guess they do have to wait for their team members to come on back onto the field before they make any movements.
They do have 2 Unite moves left, the Garchomp and the Candle still, but keep in mind how staggered they are right now. They're so behind in levels, and they still have the Absol Unite on the side of Anteiku as well. This Zoroark has so much tempo, able to just sit inside of the central area of Orange Juices. It's so hard for Orange Juices to walk up right now. You see all 5 of them congregated in that top side, but you can't really rip the Ray as you see the Garchomp just jumping over straight up, just trying to hit this Ray, knowing that is the only play they have to win this game. Forcing his Unite move on top of the Zoroark, that is not what you want to do. You need to just hit the Ray right now. Your only chance of winning this game is just flipping the Ray as we see the Leafeon go down to the Absolute Unite, the Candle going down to the Absolute Unite, and we see the Rayquaza taken. The Rayquaza taken by the Cramorant, and that is no chance for Orange Juices to win this game.
No, I mean, look, it was a risky maneuver that Orange Juices needed to do when there was literally nothing else to do. I mean, you could probably backcap, but Anteiku would have gone and defended that tier 1 in a flash. So, you know, risky maneuvers there. But as I said, when, you know, there's nothing else to do, you've just got to go in with your all. But Anteiku, a very great game coming out from them. Interesting team composition with the double speedsters, but it is going to force the surrender 555 to 103. Zoroark picking themselves up 13 KOs with that pocket comfort of a Polo Loco.
This just makes me question once again, why has no one played Zoroark this entire time? This is the first time we've seen a Zoroark all day, I think. Maybe it's the ping issues in here. Maybe they're just not feeling comfortable. A lot of people are playing from other regions, right? And there is one thing to note. These 2 regions are really close to each other because it's Latam and NA, right? So there's not too much ping disparity between these 2 teams. It should be relatively even, unlike maybe if EU is playing. So maybe the EU teams can't play Zoroark on the ping, but I feel like the Latam teams and the NA teams should definitely be abusing this character a lot more. As I mean, you saw that game. He's looking absolutely crazy right now.
Not the abusing this character. It was honestly just such a scary comp to come on into. And I think the team composition that they had, definitely gotta give shout outs to L Premium Pro on the Cramorant because they were able to get the setups with the Hurricane for either the Absol or the Zoroark to come on in as Orange Juices were stunned. So it really worked out well. And also Gohan picking out that Chandelure. That is, you know, what you want to find. You want to find either your attackers in the speed or the speedsters take them out, the threats. But also not allow Flareons. I don't think did Flareons actually end up getting to use their Unite move before they got slow beamed?
No, they didn't. They even comboed the Blissey Unite on top of him, and he was still not able to
Yeah.
do anything. And that's exactly how this
Yeah.
composition functions. Even if you have the Blissey, you're still just gonna get knocked out. There was so much of a level lead. There's just no counterplay for anything they could possibly do. One thing I want to point out: the Garchomp did 12k damage, and the Blissey did 14k. If you're a Machizel, you feel so bad after that game, especially after I praised them so much in the first game too. That is so tragedy for him.
Does that mean, I mean, you know, that's a thing. A lot of what they're known for, making waves, I guess, in the scene is the Chisel Machamp. But I feel like, you know, they're just that general all-rounder player. And I guess that's a thing with teams. You know, you can have one good game, you can have one bad game. Like it's really backwards and forth. Probably not what you want to see, especially so close to that grand finals. You want to try and take these matches 2-0 and get that clean sweep. But I said it earlier, and I keep on saying it time and time again. These matches, these best of 3 situations are just demonstrating how close in skill these players are to each other.
Right, you can see like how I mean, game one, Orange Juices looked like the better team, especially in that raid fight. They essentially did what Anteiku did in that game too, but in game one. So the fact that both of these teams can make each other look either or can either be like looking like the best or looking like the I don't want to say the worst, but like looking off at the same exact time just shows like how competitive these teams are, how much they are pressuring the advantages that they end up getting inside of these games, right? The Zorak got the lead in that game and didn't die a single time. He was able to just snowball properly and just really maintain his lead, able to just take every advantage they possibly could. They realized one thing I really like that I didn't think about until now. I love that when the second push for the Reggie Alecki on that top side ended up not working out for them, they ended up transitioning into the bot side, knowing that everyone on Orange Juicers had to stay in that top side to take out the Alecki, otherwise they could potentially rotate back. So things like that where they weren't able to necessarily find an advantage there. The play didn't, or the play went awry, but they were still able to find a lead by going to the bottom side and breaking the bottom pad. That's the stuff that you like to see. And I mean, that's why these teams look so good.
I think it's also, taking that opening, making sure that you do have as many points on the field. That way, if there is that risk where you do fumble the bag during that Quasar fight, you're hoping that you have enough EOS energy already dunked that. There is still that potential to win a match despite losing those shields. Or even, it's just creating that pressure onto the opposing team. So, I mean, in the end, they ended up securing the Rayquaza anyway, but, Rayquaza shields can be broken if needed. I mean, it does take a little bit. So you want to try and get your KOs before shredding up the raid, but I mean, with the rip there and getting secured and stolen away, yeah, I guess the rest is history.
I'm curious, do you think they're gonna do something about the Zora Comfy here? Or do you think they're gonna ban it? You think they're gonna let it through? Or do you think they have like some way of countering it in draft? How do you think they're gonna deal with this?
Oh, I guess it was a really smart play, right? They had it planned. They got the Mimikyu ban. They picked up the Slowbro. Was it Umbreon? Actually, Umbreon wasn't selected during that match at all. So really interesting to see that Orange Juices didn't actually enter back with, say, Umbreon Mean Look, because that is a great way to shut down Zoroark or even an Absol. So that could have potentially been a better choice there. But yeah, I guess it's just the game plan. No Mimikyu, no Slowbro. So, you go in for the best. I don't know whether you'd be able to do the same thing twice. What's that saying? Fool me once, shame on me. Fool me twice, shame on you. I think is what it is. I
You
probably
got
got
it
it
backwards.
completely wrong. Oh my gosh. Uh, so I don't know whether you'd want to, use the same trick twice. Um, yeah, I don't
I
know.
think it might be harder too because they might end up on orange side, right? Which means that they'll probably have to ban the Slowbro or give it up, which means that the Zoroark looks way less efficient, especially when it's against that Slowbro. The one thing about the mean look on the Umbreon in the Zoroark matchup, the Zoroark can illusion the mean look and he has a full heal as well. So he has two ways of getting outside of it. So the matchup is actually not as good as you would think, assuming the Zoroark player knows the timing to illusion the mean look. So I think that's why they didn't end up picking the Umbreon. Or if you are going to pick the Umbreon, I think that the foul play side is probably better into the Zora because you need a lot of micro stuns in order to actually be able to deal with him. So things like the Snarl plus foul play are pretty potent against it. But I think something like a maybe like a Crustle can deal with it pretty well with like an X Scissor or anything but a Snorlax, frankly. I don't think Snorlax does anything to the Zoroark. So maybe we'll see a brand new draft. Maybe they won't even be able to draft it at all because we see a Slowbro coming out, and or maybe they end up on blue side again and they'll be able to do whatever they want. Who knows?
Yeah, I guess time will tell as these teams are taking a breather before heading on into round three. That is, I guess, for me, nothing that something that I didn't really think about. And usually I'm like, oh, mean look, I'm just going to mean look the opponent. That way they cannot run for me. I'm not very much of a snarl player myself, but I guess it's the interruption that it does provide to stop that Zoroark from getting the combinations that it really needs in order to get that big damage there. So whether we'll actually end up seeing any Umbreons coming on out, I know we've seen a fair few Umbreons being selected today, or whether we're just going to end up seeing something, I guess, completely different from either of these teams. But we've had a lot of variety, haven't we?
Yeah, but the one thing we haven't seen Phalanx actually make it out of the banning phase.
Mm.
When I have seen the character, it looks so strong, but at the same time, there are many counters to it. You can play things like the Venusaur. I mean, the Blaziken, if it's up, you can proc your passive stacks on it. I'm surprised. I feel like the character should have more counterplay. Maybe teams just feel like it's too volatile to leave up, as you can just, I mean, you can just get one shot by the thing. It's pretty ridiculous, but maybe they just feel like there's not enough counterplay. I feel like Venusaur is just such a disgusting counter into it. It's virtually unkillable. I'm surprised we don't see teams leaving it up and just abusing the Venusaur matchup.
Oh, I guess it's the risk though, right? Do you really want to risk the phalanx coming out onto the field? To, as you mentioned, pretty much getting that one shot, but it's also the shielding that it gets. I mean, even its unite move can dish out so much damage, being in that unstoppable force. But Mimikyu is actually a pretty good counter to actually stop that from happening. So along with Slowbro as well. So I guess it's more, you know what, Phalanx, you don't need it. Don't want to really risk seeing it on the field. I would actually love to see Blaziken be let out of jail though.
I don't think that was gonna happen. I don't think anyone's gonna use
No.
the Blaziken in this game.
Eh.
I think they're gonna say no, no Blaziken. Or you can handshake something else. Maybe you can get a Slowbro. Maybe you can get a Mimikyu, but there's gonna be no Blaziken on the field. I'm imagining that. Anteiku over here is probably gonna ban it, as I don't think we've seen them play it at all. I'm pretty sure they banned it every single game so far that we've watched.
Actually, yeah, you could be correct because we haven't seen it at all today. So, I just absolutely love the combinations and everything from it. Once again, it is a bit risky, I guess, in order to get the three evolutions. So it can be shut down, but I guess you know what? Here we are, Rin. All answers. No, all questions will be answered very shortly in terms of what we are gonna see. Oh, look, I said Umbreon, right? Umbreon's gonna pick up that first ban.
I don't. I'm really surprised they're banning the Umbreon here. As you see the Slowbro ban coming out, that's pretty standard. I was expecting that. I'm hoping we don't see a run back of the game one drafts. I don't think that the draft in game one for either side was really that good. But if we do, they're probably going to ban two of the defenders and end up picking one of them over here. As no, they opt for the Buzzwole ban instead. I don't feel like Buzzwole is that problematic of a character. The one reason they are banning this, though, is they feel like it counters the Absol, because it was destroying the Absol in that game. So I think this tells me that they want to run back game one draft as, well, there's the Blaziken that you wanted, I guess.
Let's go! We get some Blaziken gaming. Kratos is going to yoink that one up straight away. No doubt about it. So it'll be really interesting to see what Anteiku end up answering back with, considering Buzzwole has been banned. So maybe we might end up seeing potentially a Blastoise up in the top path. What's a great counter, I guess, into Torchic?
A counter into Torchic.
Mm.
I mean, this character's banned for a reason. I don't know if they exist. Uh, it's probably going to be or it could be a central area Blaziken too. So you can't only pick to counter it right now. You're going to really have to probably save your top pick for the last pick in this draft right now. As you see the Mime Snorlax taken out over here, they really value this Mime. It did look really good in that first game, and it is very good against the Speedsters, as surprisingly, we see the Zora Comfy coming out once again. There is no Slowbro on the enemy side, but they can go the Mimikyu here. So it's really interesting to see the Zora picked up this early in the draft.
Yeah, Mimikyu pick here for Machisel to try and get that lockdown onto the Zoroark. So it'll be really interesting to see what this last pick is. Looks like it's going to be Mew. I guess Mew having that great utility, looking at their team composition, they don't really have the range. So at least Mew is able to provide that either with the solar beam or even the electro ball. But Anteiku, they're going to stick with what is comfortable to them. This is pretty much exactly the same team composition, bar the switcheroo with the Slowbro and the Trevenant pick.
So I actually think Antiku misdraft here. So hear me out. This Comfy could easily be a Mimikyu. The enemy side Orange Juicers already picked Mr. Mime, Blaziken, Snorlax. So there is no way they're going to pick up another support. So you don't have to take the Comfy here. You can just go Zoroark plus Mimikyu here, save Comfy for last pick, and now you have both those characters out. You have the check for Zoroark taken out of the game, and you have you have 5 disgustingly strong characters on your team, and now the enemy team has no character they can pick that counters it. So I think this is actually a misstep for them to take the Comfy here, and I feel like that could bite them in the butt, as Mimikyu is a known counter to a lot of these speedsters. Its Unite move locking them down, play rough making them making it basically unkillable against these, plus doing a disgusting amount of damage. It's just frankly unfair, chunking about like 60% of your HP or something stupidly ridiculous while being invuln. Like, I don't feel like they should have given away Mimikyu. I'm really surprised to see that.
That's actually a really good pick because if you go and use that play with me onto the Zoroark with the Comfey attached, that's a 2-for-1 deal there. So Mimikyu might end up having an absolute feast this round, but I guess it's really going to have to come down to the timings to try and get those isolations. But Rin, this is going to be the final match for the losers final. Whichever team ends up coming out on top is going to be going up against governmentalization in the grand finals, who have been waiting ever so patiently. But we are seeing a 1-4-0 right now on the side of Anteiku, making sure to secure those buffs, prevent any potential for the invades.
Yeah, I really like this coming out of Anteiku. It gives them the early opportunity to be able to move their jungle into one of these lanes in a good manner. And it also means that Orange Juicers no longer has the opportunity to invade. And the one weakness Antiku's comp has is this slight disadvantage they have in the early game because they have a Comfey and a Zoroark. Now the Zoroark is going to be able to hit level 5. It's going to turn into the Zoroark. And it's going to be an absolute terror coming into these Altarias. So good adaptation coming from them to defend against the invade. And I would really be interested in seeing more teams doing stuff like this in the future.
Yeah, I really like this unconventional way of splitting up the experience, making sure to leave those Bunnelbees, but giving the Zoroark the back bowl toy as well. That way, when they do go in for this first gank, they're able to have that level 5. However, they're actually going to play quite passively, going to let Orange Juicers take all of those Swablues and Altaria for themselves, not looking to dive on in, considering Mime was able to put up a wall and stop them in their tracks.
Yeah, I think that was a really smart play, as the amount of single target damage that can come out from Orange Juicers right there at those Altarias would just be way too lethal for Anteiku. Any member on the team would go down instantly. Comfy does not have enough healing. Where this composition really starts to shine is once you get outside of essentially like the second Altaria phase, right? Where you can start opening up the map more and looking for more plays where you can go to that top or that bottom side, or you can invade, or you can go look for dunks or backcaps, or you can go farm your own central area. That's when this comp from Anteiku really starts to shine with the mobility that it has. So I think it was a smart play for them not to go for the Altarias there, and I think a lot of teams wouldn't have done that.
No, I guess when there's so much on the line, you just got to try and time your maneuvers perfectly. Talking about maneuvers, Zugrug was able to land themselves a heavy slam, does end up getting chucked up by that hurricane, however, is able to, once again, use that heavy slam back into safety. But we're talking about passive. Now we have the aggression coming out from the Zoroark and Comfey Crumblerant duo, able to take down the Mr. Mime, which means they're able to go and empty out their Eos energy, leaving this top path on 4 points. We are finally starting to see some points on the board coming on in.
Yeah, and this is the slightly past the early game transition as we see a double combo onto Orange Juicers. 2 KOs going over for the Zoroark and another left quite low as they're looking again on the Mimikyu. The Mimikyu going to be taken down as well and now pressuring the Snorlax. The Snorlax has to give up this pad and now the pad is completely broken and Anteiku just blew open the game. The top pad at 4, the bottom pad broken. Going to get this bottom Reggie. No one contesting the top Reggie. Anteiku can blow up this game so wide right now. The Absol can invade. He can go to that top side. He can steal the farm. There's so much they can do right now. And they have a Reggie steal. Dude, this game looks so insane for Anteiku.
Well, I mean, the benefit is we do, Orange Juicers do have the comeback experience with that tier broken. So we do have Mew being able to pick up their Unite move, and Blaziken was also able to hit that level 8, so able to switch up their maneuvers either from the punching to the kicking stance. However, Trevenant is going to find him in the tall grass. They are going to have to try and retreat and get their reposition as we still have that Regieleki, but Zoroark and Comfey, they're on a different mission, and this one is possible as they're able to go and get in some dunks in that bottom tier 2 pad.
Yeah, but we have the Crammer Unite coming out, absolutely decimating everyone. Orange Juicers, their entire team force back as we the Overheat coming out and able to secure the Regieleki over here. The Absol using his Unite move on that Aleki, and I think that was a misplay. Meanwhile, on the backside, the Zoroark broke the pad with like I think a 1 overcap and 1 HP left on the Blaziken, able to take out the Absol. He can go down to the Zoroark here, but is he able to find the combo? He's able to find the Shadow Claw. No, it's the Comfy getting it, but you see the play rough able to deny the value from the Unite move of the Zoroark, but he's caught in the play with me. Going down is the Zoroark as we find 2 more members caught in a corner against the Mime. A KO streak of 2 for the Mimikyu. That is 3 going down for our Anteiku, and that is so much comeback EXP with the Regieleki pressuring over here as well. Maybe we can get more picks.
Oh my gosh, the Solar Beam to go and take down that Cramorant, and now Absol is gone. After all of that time wasted there from pushing, we have that Regieleki going on in, leaving it on 2 points. So it'll be interesting to see how much overdunk they're going to get. It's going to be that 28 because of Zugrug. However, Zoroark and Comfey get taken down once again by Kratos on the Mimikyu. And you were saying this earlier, Mimikyu is such a great counter to these speedster picks.
Yeah, it's so cringe what it can do with the play rough. You can't play the game against it. You're playing a speedster, he plus his play rough, you can't do it. There's no counterplay. You just die instantly. I don't know what you're supposed to do. Even with the Comfy on him, you can see he's deleting his HP bar as you see a Regice down over here. The Trevenant Unite coming out, trying to stall a little bit. The Overheat coming out, and it's actually going to be secured by the Grass out on the Comfy. I don't even know what that happens over the Electro Ball. We see the Gatling Gold Missile able to get so much value right now, taking out 2 KOs. We see the Mimikyu Unite coming out on the Zoroark, but not able to get any value as the Comfy Unite comes out in counter, and only the Mime is left alive, able to get a score of 2 on the top side, getting a little bit of stacks, but that is 4 KOs for Anteiku, and the Reggie Eyes going over to them as well.
Okay, once again, the momentum is shifting, right? It's starting to balance on out. It's 169 to 89. However, Zoroark is going to be able to get in a 15 dunk, able to weave themselves over that wall, also take that red buff away from Orange Juicers. Unfortunate misplay there by Kratos, not able to land their Shadow Sneak onto that Zoroark. So that does mean they're going to dive back on into the Blaziken. There is a Fox in the hen house that is absolutely running a rampage, looking for more juicy KOs to pick on up.
I think even if he landed that Shadow Sneak, he would have went down just like he did right there. He has no Unite move to counter the Zoroark, and the Zoroark does have his Unite move, so the second he jumps in after the play rough ends, he just gets a Unite moved and goes down literally instantly. 3 minutes and 20 seconds left in this game, and we have so many levels on Anteiku. We have level 13 and 2 level 12s. Meanwhile, Orange Juicers has a level 11 Mew right now. That's a character that notoriously needs so many levels, yet he's put so far behind over here. As we see Blaziken engaging on the Zoroark, the play rough going on the Zoroark and able to take him down, but the Pursuit is able to find the Regieleki, looking for a KO on the Blaziken is the Absol, and they're able to find it, but a KO streak of 2 for the Mimikyu as well. That's a lot of comeback EXP coming back for Orange Juicers, but I think Anteiku got the better of that trade.
No way. The timing there, the overheat was just a little bit too early, and Regieleki, being the paid actor, was able to get the stun on the Blaziken, meaning they weren't able to get the last hit, allowing Anteiku to come in and sweep it away from them. However, there is still time for that Mimikyu to shred it on down, but that means they're not going to be down here for this Regirock fight, which Anteiku are looking to try and take advantage of. coming, the final stretch. Oh, once again, just the burst from the Mew. The timing for Orange Juices just isn't working out in their favor. Oh my gosh, this Horn Leech on 3 members, Rin.
Yeah, I don't know why the Trevenant is looking for this. This looks so empty. He forces his own Unite move there, but we see on the backside, the Mimikyu is using his Unite as well, as actually the Cramorant is saved by the Zoroark, forcing his Unite on the Mimikyu, but so many moves coming out right now. The player almost able to keep him alive. Meanwhile, on the other side of the fight, it looks like the Trevenant goes down. The Zoroark brought extremely low. He's likely going to be sniped over here by the Blaziken, but no, the Grass Knot keeps him alive. The Absolute Unite goes wide. He ends up missing on the Mew. The Mew ejecting forward, able to get him out. The Mew Unite coming out, able to save him from the Sucker Punch of the Absol, but that's a lot of cooldowns coming out of Orange Juice. There's only 1 Unite on the Mr. Mime left. Meanwhile, 0 Unites for Anteiku. We'll have to see how Orange Juice just ends up pressing this advantage.
Holy macaroni. That engage was absolutely insane. But Orange Juices are looking to go and shred up this Rayquaza, but Trevenant is here to try and stop that as they are 1 HP, able to use that Horn Leech to push him on back, try to buy enough time for Anteiku to come on here and try to get some KOs for their side. But Rayquaza is a quarter HP over here, is going to charge on up, and we have Blaziken in the midst of glory, able to get this secure for Orange Juices. I think it was Blaziken. But wait, Blaziken's shield was broken, Rin.
Right, but they still have the point advantage. Look at the points right now. It's 226 to 219, but there are no shields for the sides of Orange Juicers. If Anteiku can get a score here, they can win the game. Keep in mind, it's only the Snorlax that can defend right now. The Blaziken on the other side of the map, and they have 2 here with the Comfy and the Zoroark, so maybe they can look for a play with that, but no, the Mimikyu is back up to defend. I don't think Anteiku knows that they're behind right now. I think they're just trying to defend against the Mime, who has the shield still, and that's going to be absolutely deadly for them unless the Zoroark can find a pick, but this Mimikyu has his Unite move. There's no way this can work out. As you can see, the Unite move going wide. The Mimikyu ends up using the X attack plus Unite, taking Zoroark down to 1 HP. The Mime able to score as well. That is that's a 71 point lead right now. You need to score if you're Anteiku. You have 11 seconds, 10 seconds left. The Zoroark is dead. The Comfy running for his life. Absol and Cramorant trying to look for a score top, but there's no time left. There's no way you can get the score up. Even if you get this 19, that is game over. Orange Juice is going to take the game.
Oh my gosh. What a series of events. Like, I'm like sitting here like, oh, what on earth just happened?
Orange
These
Juice's counter
teams,
Antiku's strategy of the ripping the Ray. I love to see it. You love the rip right in their face. The stone cold confidence saying that they're going to get the secure over the Zoroark. That is so tragic for Anteiku. You had the game right in your grasp and it slipped away. That is so tragic for you.
Oh, that was an absolute insane match. The Mimikyu pick, Kratos picking up a 10 KOs, 72k damage. Such a great Pokemon to pick on into the composition of Anteiku. And you can see, yeah, it was just the play rough, play with me combos that they were able to utilize. I guess you need to break it all down here for me, Ren, because at the moment my mind is just scrambled eggs.
I feel like, well, the Mimikyu just countered their composition so hard. It felt like it was so impossible for them to play at a lot of stages in the game. I actually feel like Anteiku was outmaneuvering Orange Juicers in a lot of this game. The fact that the game was so close, despite the Mimikyu absolutely rolling them, looking like such a disgusting character throughout the whole game. And the fact that the only reason Orange Juicers won was because of that Ray call at the end. I mean, even then, they almost didn't win, even despite getting the Ray, because the shields were broken. I mean, I have to give it to Anteiku there. Despite the fact that Orange Juices ended up winning, that was really well played by them. I really like how they ended up executing this comp. It just circles back to the draft, though. If you ended up taking the Mimikyu away, it wouldn't have been able to do this to you. So why didn't you take away the Mimikyu instead of taking the Comfy? I don't know.
Oh, I mean, the question is, do they actually have a player on their team that is mastered the Mimikyu moveset? We all know that Shadow Sneak can be quite difficult to land, and I mean, you're going to pick Shadow Sneak over Trick Room. Nobody picks Trick Room, folks. So maybe they just didn't want to risk it. I mean, there's also, the option of ping. we do have an NA team going into a LATAM team. So, that could potentially be the reason. But then again, I feel like ping wouldn't be a real issue considering you're picking up Zoroark and Absol, which, do rely on the timing of your movements. So, yeah, I guess many questions that probably won't actually get answered by us, unfortunately, Rin.
Well, all right, I think I have the answer. It's you see the Zoroark comfy angle right there, and so you're like, we need the Zoroark with the comfy. But you
Mm,
realize that you have to realize that even if you have the comfy, the Mimikyu can just one-shot you, as happened so many times inside of that game, where the comfy can't save you inside of the Unite move of the Mimikyu that just takes you to 1 HP. So what does the comfy even really do there? It's a good character with the Zoroark, but what are you saying? You can't take away the comfy on last pick there, or if they end up taking it away, you can't snowball the game with the comfy Blaziken on the top side. That is the worst lane imaginable. You have to absolutely destroy the game if they end up drafting that. That is such an illegal combo. There is no way you can let them run comfy Blaziken. So I think they just didn't think about it. I think they were too tunnel on the fact that Zora comfy is a disgustingly overpowered combination, and that ended up, well, they ended up losing because of it. But unfortunate for them, but Orange Juicers going into the grand finals against Inters. After that game, Inters has to know exactly what Orange Juicers is doing, and frankly, they can look at exactly what Anteiku did, and maybe they can use some of those strategies to actually take down Orange Juicers here.